Hello, sports fans. It is Monday, September the 28th, the year 2015. And as always, a lot to get to in the sports world, so let's get it going right now. Great to be back with you guys. Hope you guys had a fabulous weekend. Hope you enjoyed some of the games over the weekend. And I hope you picked a lot of winners and made a lot of money. I'm going to do a quick recap with you right now. We're going to go through the NFL, maybe a little college football, a little baseball, maybe a little golf, and then I'm going to roll into my NFL and college picks for this week. I already made my picks, so I'm going to give them to you today after the quick recap. Okay, without further ado, let's recap the NFL over the weekend. Let's start up in New England, where the New England Patriots just blasted the Jacksonville Jaguars 51-17. New England up to 3-0 as they go into their bye week. Jacksonville down to 1-2. Do we need to say any more? This is why New England's New England and Jacksonville is Jacksonville. New England looks like an offensive machine right now. They score every time they have the ball. This game was over early. I mean, New England just laid it on Jacksonville. You can't be too surprised by this. I mean, maybe you thought Jacksonville would put up a little resistance. They didn't. This game was over quickly. New England just really buried Jacksonville in this game. New England probably doesn't want their bye week to come this week the way they're rolling. It's amazing. Belichick just keeps plugging players in year after year. They lose their whole secondary, keep plugging players in. Amazing job again by New England this year. They look like a team that can get to the Super Bowl and possibly win it again. I mean, they're going to be right up there again. They just laid it on Jacksonville. And Jacksonville had a nice win against Miami last week. I mean, they just were awful yesterday. This was all New England. Let's move on. Let's go down to the Big D in Dallas, where the Atlanta Falcons rally and beat the Dallas Cowboys 39-28. Atlanta up to a very impressive 3-0. Dallas down to 2-1. Tale of two halves. Dallas is up 28-17 at the half. They're doing a lot of good things on offense. They're playing well. And in the second half, it was all Atlanta. Atlanta outscores Dallas 22-0 in the second half. Ryan was tremendous yesterday. So was Freeman. So was that offensive line. How about Julio Jones? Is this guy not a monster at receiver? No one can cover him. I mean, he was just flying up and down the field yesterday. Atlanta, a very impressive second half comeback yesterday. Nice job by them. 3-0. Atlanta looks much improved this year. Dallas, hey, you can't kill them. They're without two of their best players. They're playing a good team. You'd like to see them play a little better in the second half. Maybe get that running game going. They were so good at running the ball last year. Not running the ball, as they did last year. You'd like to see them get that running game going, especially with Romo and Bryan out. Can't kill Dallas here. Dallas has to hold the fort until they get some of these guys back healthy. Nice come-from-behind win by Atlanta. They look much improved this year. Let's go to the dog pound in Cleveland, where the Oakland Raiders beat the Cleveland Browns 27-20. Oakland up to 2-1. Who would have thought that after week one? Cleveland down to 1-2. I thought Carr played very well for Oakland yesterday. Oakland is putting together a nice offense. Carr looks like a decent quarterback. They got the wideouts, found a running game yesterday. Oakland's putting some things together on offense. Not a good loss for Cleveland. McCown has the interception late in the game, seals the game for Oakland. We'll see if Manziel gets back in the game. You don't love the Cleveland quarterback situation. I mean, Cleveland, this was a bad loss for Cleveland. You have Oakland in your building. You're not going to win too many games this year, Cleveland. This is a game you really have to have. I mean, this was not a good loss for the Browns at all. Give Oakland credit after the terrible week one. They've won 2 in a row. Offense looks like it's putting some things together. Nice job by Oakland. Not a good loss at all for Cleveland. We'll see about this quarterback situation. Cleveland, are you ever going to get out of your own way? Let's go down to Nashville, Tennessee, where the Indianapolis Colts hang on and beat the Tennessee Titans 35-33. Colts finally get a win. They're up to 1-2. Tennessee down to 1-2 as they head into their bye week. This was a strange game. Colts are up 14-0. Then Tennessee reels off 27 straight points to go up 27-14. Then the Colts come back and take a 35-27 lead. Then late in the game, Tennessee scores to make it 35-33. And then they go for two. They run the ball, and they're stuffed, and the Colts hang on. I did not like that 2-point conversion call by Tennessee. They're running the ball. Did not like that. Wish they would have thrown it. They actually threw it the play before on the 2-point conversion, and the Colts took a penalty on that, which actually turned out to be a good penalty for the Colts because I think Tennessee would have converted that 2-point conversion. Tennessee got off the pass call. They went to a running play on the second try, and they got stuffed. I didn't like that. When you run the ball on a 2-point conversion and you're stuffed, it feels like you didn't get your money's worth. And that's what it felt like for Tennessee yesterday. Like, why did we call that? So the Colts hang on. The Colts had to have this game. 0-3, they're in deep trouble. Now listen, the Colts still have all sorts of issues. They're not playing well at all. Luck had another couple of interceptions yesterday. Colts got to play a lot better than this, but they needed this win in the worst way. Tennessee, hey, you're going to have these games. They're breaking in a new quarterback. You don't expect much from them. They played hard. They battled back. But the Colts, it's really about them right now. They're not firing on all cylinders. Very lucky to win this game, but they do escape with the win. Let's go down to Baltimore. This was a wild and woolly game like it always is between these two, where the Cincinnati Bengals hold off the Baltimore Ravens 28-24. Bengals up to 3-0. What else is new? They're off to a hot start. Baltimore down to 0-3. I believe that's the first time the Ravens are 0-3 in their history. Cincinnati is up 14-0 in this game, dominating the game. They have the 4th and goal. I thought they should have kicked the field goal to go up 17-0. They go for it. Looks like they get in the end zone, but they fumble. They go to replay. They say the Cincinnati guy did not complete the catch. So they take that away, so it remains 14-0 Bengals. Baltimore starts to rally. They get it to 14-10. Then Baltimore in the 4th quarter sacks Dalton, returns it for a touchdown. Baltimore actually goes up 17-14. Next possession, Dalton to A.J. Green, 80 yards, touchdown. Cincinnati's up 21-17. Baltimore's next possession, Flacco to Smith. Baltimore goes up 24-21. Then Cincinnati goes on another drive. Dalton to Nugent. Cincinnati goes up 28-24. They hold Baltimore at the end, and Cincinnati wins a wild and woolly game, a wild 4th quarter. The games are always wild between these two. Cincinnati looks like a solid team. They look like the best team in this division. But they've been off to hot starts before, especially recently. So is Dalton. He's got to prove he can do it in the playoffs. But Cincinnati looks like a solid team. Baltimore 0-3. I mean, I don't know what the deal is with them. No Suggs. They just can't play a complete game. Baltimore in all kinds of trouble right now. You're not used to seeing Baltimore in this kind of trouble this early in the season. Nice win by Cincinnati. Wild game. I hope you caught that game. It was wild. All right, let's go to Minnesota, where the Minnesota Vikings just handle the San Diego Chargers 31-14. Minnesota's up to 2-1. Remember the way they played week 1 against the Niners? Now they've come back with 2 straight wins. San Diego 1-2, always stumbling and bumbling. Minnesota's up 10-7 at the half. It's very close. It's all Vikings in the second half. Vikings, did a lot of things good on the ground yesterday. Peterson at 126 yards rushing. San Diego didn't get much done on the ground. Of course, they had the big interception return on Minnesota. This was a nice win by Minnesota. I told you at the beginning of the year I thought Minnesota would be much improved, especially at home. They took a beating to San Francisco week 1. They've come back with 2 nice wins, so nice job by the Vikings. The Vikings are starting to put together a decent team. Remember, they're going to move into a new stadium next year as well. San Diego, what is the deal with you? I mean, what is the deal with you, San Diego? You can't play better than this yesterday. I mean, I could see you losing to Minnesota. They didn't play well at all, San Diego. This is now 2 weeks in a row where they've never really had a lead the whole game. San Diego, another team that can never get out of their own way. They have the stud quarterback. You always think they're going to put it together, and then they throw one of these performances at you. San Diego stumbling and bumbling. You're going to look up at the end of the year, and San Diego is going to be like 8-8 again, and you're going to just feel underwhelmed by them. I know a lot of Charger fans that want the coach gone, and they want this team completely redone. They're sick of looking at this, and I can't blame you. I mean, year after year, you think the Chargers are going to have a big year, and they just lay these terrible performances on you. So, terrible loss by San Diego yesterday. Nice job by the Vikings. The Thursday game was in the Meadowlands, not too far from here, where the New York Giants finally held on and won. They beat the Washington Redskins 32-21. Giants up to 1-2. Skins down to 1-2. Like I said, the Giants held on in this game. They tried to give it away in the 4th quarter, but they held on and won. Cousins had 2 interceptions. Washington fumbles going into the end zone. Too many turnovers and bad play by Washington. Washington was sleepwalking the first 3 quarters of this game. To me, this was the Eli to Beckham to Randall show. I mean, Eli to Beckham and Eli to Randall worked all night. I mean, the Redskins could not get the Giants off the field, and the Redskin defense had played very well the first 2 weeks. Didn't play well here. The Giants did whatever they wanted on offense, and the Redskins, too many turnovers. You can't have 3 turnovers on the road and expect to win. Giants get a much-needed win. You think about it, the Giants could be 3-0 or at least 2-1 here. They have played pretty decently the first 3 weeks. They did blow 2 games. They hang on here. Redskins, again, just when you think they're going to start to put something together, they go back a step. They had the nice win against the Rams, and they didn't play well at all here, especially the first 3 quarters. We'll keep an eye on the Redskins going forward, but the Giants get the much-needed win. Let's go to St. Louis yesterday, where the Pittsburgh Steelers hold off the Rams 12-6 in a low-scoring game. Steelers up to 2-1, Rams down to 1-2. The big story here, Roethlisberger hurts his knee. He's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks. That means Mike Vick will be quarterbacking, and Vick hasn't done much the last few years at all, so you don't know what you're going to get from him. No running game on either side yesterday. The Steelers make a stand late in the game to hold on. Steelers, good job winning the game on the road. The Steelers defense has played well the last 2 weeks. They're going to have to hold the fort just like Dallas will with Roethlisberger out. So we'll see if Mike Vick can do anything. Maybe he leans on that running game. The Steelers do have a lot of weapons. They have a good offense. Defense is playing better. Mike Vick just doesn't have to lose the game for him. We'll see. They have a short week this week, the Steelers. They play on Thursday night against the Ravens at home, so we'll keep an eye on that. Rams, here we go again with you. Had the nice win against Seattle in week 1. Last 2 weeks, what are you doing, especially offensively? 10 points last week in Washington, 6 points here at home. I mean, it's not going to get it done. The Rams, I was expecting better things from them this year, and again, you look up, and here they are 1-2, and they're in Arizona this week, could be 1-3. You're starting to get that eerie feeling about the Rams again. I mean, this was not a great performance by the Rams at all at home. Couldn't get in the end zone, and this Steelers secondary has been much maligned. So not a good loss at all for the Rams. Nice road win by the Steelers. We'll see if they can hold the fort until Roethlisberger gets back. Let's go down to Houston, where the Houston Texans beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 19-9. Houston up to 1-2. Tampa Bay down to 1-2. Foster didn't play in this game for Houston. I thought he would, but Blue was very good running the ball for Houston. Mallett did some decent things. The Houston defense pretty much controlled Winston and Tampa Bay, just what you thought. If Houston was ever going to win a game, it was here at home against Tampa Bay and that rookie quarterback. I mean, Houston's offense still needs a lot of work. I mean, the quarterback play is still spotty. Have to get Foster back at running back, although Blue did play well yesterday. Can't lean on your defense this much. They're not putting up any points consistently, Houston, but they do get a win here. Tampa Bay, hey, it's going to be one of these years for Tampa Bay. They got a rookie quarterback. You can't expect much. You hope he grows as a player. That's all you can expect from Tampa Bay this year. So Houston gets the much-needed win there. Let's go to the Meadowlands in New Jersey, not too far from here again. We're speaking of much-needed wins. The Philadelphia Eagles got one. They beat the New York Jets 24-17. They hang on and do it. Philadelphia up to 1-2. Jets down to 2-1. I'll tell you, the Eagles had a big lead in this game, got a little sloppy at the end of this game, but did hold on. Sproles had the big punt return to get the Eagles going. Bradford had no interceptions in this game, although, you know, his numbers weren't all that great. Fitzpatrick, 3 interceptions for the Jets. That's not going to get it done. Matthews was big on the ground for the Eagles, 108 yards rushing. Jets had nothing going on the ground. Like I said, the Eagles had a 24-7 lead in this game, got a little sloppy at the end, got to 24-17, but the Eagles hold on and get a much-needed win. I mean, the Eagles had to have this game, couldn't go to 0-3. They didn't play great yesterday, Philadelphia, but they got the much-needed road win. We'll see if they can build on that going forward. And by the way, keep Sproles on the field. Every time he's on the field, he does positive things. Jets, Fitzpatrick was awful yesterday. 3 turnovers. You cannot have 3 turnovers and expect to win the game. Jets had no running game. This was not a good performance by the New York Jets. They are still 2-1. We'll see what they do this week against Miami in London. Let's go down to Carolina, where the Carolina Panthers hold off the New Orleans Saints 27-22. Carolina up to 3-0. Nice job by them. Saints down to 0-3, and it's getting late early for the Saints. No Breeze yesterday. McCown actually played well, 31-38, 310 yards. I thought Newton played well as well. He had 2 touchdown passes. Norman, the big interception at the end of this game to seal the deal for Carolina. What a nice interception. If you haven't seen it, go check it out on YouTube or the highlight package. What a nice interception. I thought that pass was going to get over him and the Saints might win this game. Nice pick-off by Norman. Carolina showing me some nice things on defense. Nice job by Carolina being 3-0. Saints, hey, it could be a long, ugly year for the Saints. And it's funny, McCown actually played well yesterday, and they still lost. Danger time for the Saints. So Carolina gets the win there. Let's go out to the desert in Arizona, where the Arizona Cardinals just smack around the San Francisco 49ers 47-7. Arizona up to 3-0. I said it at the beginning of the year. I was one of the few believers. I said, watch out for Arizona with Palmer back. Arizona's going to be a decent team. They smacked around the Niners. Palmer played well. Fitzpatrick has found the fountain of youth. Arizona, you looked up, they were up 14-0 because Kaepernick threw 2 picks that were run back for touchdowns early in the game. Niners, who had the nice, impressive win in Week 1 against Minnesota, have looked dreadful the last 2 weeks. They got plastered by Pittsburgh, and they got plastered here. I mean, the Niners, all sorts of problems. We thought they'd have all sorts of problems. Kaepernick looked lost yesterday. I mean, the Niners, remember, this is a team that could have got to the Super Bowl just 2 years ago. Look how far they've fallen. Arizona, a legit team. They'll be fighting with Seattle for the division. I think they're a definite playoff team, Arizona. The Niners could be a very long year for you. All right, let's go down to Miami, where the Buffalo Bills just stomp all over the Miami Dolphins, 41-14. Bills up to 2-1. Nice rebound win for them. Dolphins down to 1-2 in the last 2 weeks, lose to Jacksonville and get blown out here in your home opener. Not looking good at all. I thought Taylor was very good for Buffalo yesterday, and I thought Tannehill was very bad for Miami, and that's basically all you need to know about this game. Buffalo had the tough loss to New England last week. Well, they took it all out on Miami. Buffalo stomped all over Miami yesterday. Hey, Miami, what are you doing? You didn't look all that great in Week 1, but you pulled out the win on the punt return against Washington. You lose to Jacksonville. We see how good Jacksonville is by the way they played against New England yesterday. And then you laid a complete egg in your home opener against a division rival. This is a terrible loss by Miami. And what's with Miami's defense? Sue and Wake, they can't get to the quarterback. They got no sacks the last few games, Miami. And they got 2 guys that can get to the quarterback. What's going on with Miami? And Tannehill. I mean, what's the deal with you? You just signed a nice extension. You got to be better than this. Miami, a dreadful performance. This was one of the worst performances of the day. This was their home opener. Embarrassing loss by Miami. Nice win by Buffalo. Buffalo looks like a decent team. Let's go up to Seattle, at Madhouse in Seattle, where the Seattle Seahawks shut out the Chicago Bears 26-0. Seattle gets their first win. They're up to 1-2. Bears down to 0-3. Listen, it was 6-0 at the half. Then Seattle had the long kick return to go up 13-0, and you knew right then and there the game was over. Seattle's offense still sputtering. You know, they got Graham Moore involved yesterday, but Seattle's offense not clicking on all cylinders. The Bears are just a dreadful team. No Cutler, no Jeffrey. I mean, the backup quarterback played awful for the Bears. The Bears look lost, and I really feel bad for the Chicago fans that they have to watch this. The Bears had 10 possessions yesterday. They punted 10 times. Enough said. The Bears are finished. Look for Seattle to play better the rest of the year now. You know they're always a threat to get to the Super Bowl. Lynch did leave with a hamstring. We'll keep an eye on that. And then, of course, last night, the Denver Broncos beat the Detroit Lions in Detroit 24-12. Denver up to 3-0. Detroit down to 0-3, and their season is crashing on them very, very fast. Listen, I told you this was my best bet of the week. This spread was 3 points. It was insane that was 3 points. Why? Have you not seen enough of Peyton Manning in the regular season? Even going back to when he was with the Colts, now with the Broncos, his teams always go 12-4, 13-3. They have huge records. They don't lose to teams like this. Detroit is not the same team. They don't have the same defense. They played hard yesterday, Detroit. Too many mistakes. We know Peyton Manning's getting older for Denver, but Denver has solid receivers. They have, we'll expect the running game to get better. It hasn't been great. The Denver defense can do a lot of things. They have those 2 good pass rushers. They have the good secondary, the 2 corners. Denver has a solid team around Manning. He doesn't have to win the game by himself. You see that. So Denver, nice job by them. They're 3-0. You expect them to have another monstrous season. We'll see what Manning can do in the playoffs. You know, as always, we'll get to that when it happens. But Denver, you expect them to have one of the best records in the AFC, and they don't lose to teams like this. Detroit, going the wrong way in the hurry. Detroit looks like they could have a very bad season. I don't like Detroit's defense at all. They played hard yesterday. Detroit just doesn't have the talent this year. They just don't. All right, so that was last night. Of course, tonight you have the Monday night game, Kansas City at Green Bay. That spread is 6.5. I believe it opened at 7. It's down to 6.5. I'd expect Green Bay to win. Kansas City is a decent team. Spread's a little high, but Green Bay is a powerhouse. Kansas City must be stewing. They blew that game to Denver like eons ago, it seems. Remember that Thursday night game they blew to Denver? They had a long wait to get to this game. So Kansas City must be dying to play a game after they just let that game slip away against Denver. Hard to see Kansas City winning this game. You'd expect Green Bay to win at home, being they're such a powerhouse, especially at home, and Rodgers makes no mistakes at home. But the Chiefs are a decent team, so it should be a good game tonight. So that was your week in the NFL. Real quickly on the college football, how about Utah? How about Utah going into Eugene, Oregon, and just whacking the Ducks 62-20? Are you kidding me? I am a believer in the Utah Utes. Great job by Utah. Utah always has a good program. They always play well at home. They always spring upsets at home. Now they are a true threat to win the Pac-12. They made a believer out of me and the rest of the country. 62-20 in Oregon, where Oregon never loses. Tremendous job by Utah. Great job. They have a ferocious defense. Love the performance by Utah. Oregon, I've said it for years now, soft. This is now their second loss of the year. Oregon is done as far as any national championship aspirations. Oregon needs to get tougher. They've built a nice program. You know, from Abyss, Oregon used to be a nothing in college football. Now they're a powerhouse. Can't get over that hump. Need to get tougher in the trenches. Need to be a tougher football team. You cannot lose at home after you already have a loss on your schedule, and you can't lose at home 62-20. I know Utah's good, and I could see them losing to Utah, not 62-20. That's an embarrassing performance by Oregon. Soft team. Great job by Utah. Speaking of soft, how about the Arizona Wildcats at home? UCLA goes in there and just lays it on Arizona 56-30. This was where College Game Day was. Arizona is starting to get that label as a soft team. UCLA pushed them around. And this was a UCLA team that barely beat BYU last week, and BYU just got bombed by Michigan this week. UCLA pushed Arizona around in their house on College Game Day. And Rich Rodriguez, who was a tremendous coach at West Virginia, not so good at Michigan, has done some nice things at Arizona. Your team's got to get tougher than this. You can't get pushed around in your house on College Game Day. UCLA just smacked you around. UCLA's playing a freshman quarterback. And I know Arizona lost their quarterback, but their defense did nothing. UCLA manhandled them. So Oregon soft, Arizona soft, and another one who's soft, Arizona State soft. USC 42, Arizona State 14 in Tempe. Arizona State is another one of these teams that is soft. They can bully weaker teams. You start to smack them in the mouth, you get a performance like this. USC got smacked around last week by Stanford. And then USC just laid it on Arizona State here, 42-14. This was a collection of just mishaps by Arizona State. It was pathetic. I mean, what a pathetic performance. Oregon, Arizona, and Arizona State played just some of the softest games you will ever see, and they all were home, and they're supposed to be good teams this year. Pathetic performance by all of them. Oregon, Arizona, and Arizona State, shame on you. Great job by Utah, UCLA, and USC over the weekend. LSU beat Syracuse in kind of a snoozer game. LSU looked like they had a hangover. Syracuse hung in the game, but LSU wins by 10. The LSU running back is absolutely fabulous. If you haven't seen him, check him out. He's an absolute stud. How about the TCU-Texas Tech game over in Texas Tech? TCU wins 55-52. They score on fourth down on a deflected pass, and then Texas Tech almost, wins the game on a bunch of laterals. They actually get down to the 10-yard line before they're pushed out of bounds. What a wild and woolly game. I'll tell you, the Big 12 has a lot of teams that can score that play no defense. I mean, Baylor, Texas Tech, TCU. Texas. The list goes on and on. The best defensive team might be Oklahoma in that Big 12. TCU also has a bunch of injuries on defense. I like TCU, I like the program, but I don't think with all these injuries on defense, they're going to be able to survive this season. They're not going to be able to survive the Big 12 schedule. They will take a couple of losses. I don't see TCU with all these injuries on defense getting to the Final Four. Texas A&M won in overtime against Arkansas 28-21. Texas A&M remains undefeated. Arkansas just cannot catch a break. Oklahoma State beats Texas in Texas 30-27. For the second straight year, Texas has kicking follies. They lose the game to Cal last week because they can't miss an extra point. Now they bobble a punt, which leads to an Oklahoma State game-winning field goal. I'll tell you, Strong better watch it for Texas. Texas is getting a new athletic director, and athletic directors like to hire their own guys. Strong doesn't start winning some games, he could be out very quickly at Texas. All right, so Oklahoma State gets the win there. How about the Florida-Tennessee game down in Tennessee? This game just made me just punch the wall. Florida wins 28-27. Tennessee goes up 26-14 with 10 minutes to go. What do? You go for two, right? Make it 28-14. No. Tennessee goes for one. Makes it 27-14. I mean, why would you do that with 10 minutes to go in the game? What do you think? Florida's going to go down the field 3 times and they're going to be kicking field goals? I mean, are you kidding me? And I like the Tennessee coach, and he's building a nice program. This is now the second time they've let a game get away. Let the Oklahoma game get away, and they totally blew this game. You cannot go for the extra point there at 26-14. And as soon as it happened, I said Florida's going to win 28-27. Sure enough, Florida rallies and wins 28-27. They have the big fourth down. Tennessee couldn't stop Florida on any fourth downs. Tennessee got the ball back and had terrible clock management before they missed the 55-yard field goal. But the coach of Tennessee did a terrible job in this game. You cannot go for the extra point there with 10 minutes left to go in the game. You think Florida is going to drive 3 times down the field and kick 2 field goals? You want to stay up by 13? No. You want to go up by 14 there. You don't want to leave yourself open. That's just what he did. Florida rallies and clips Tennessee 28-27. That is on the Tennessee coach. And the Tennessee clock management at the end of the game was atrocious as well. Tennessee has now let 2 games slip away. Florida has now beaten Tennessee, 10 years in a row, 11 years in a row? Tennessee, get it together already. So Florida wins there. Terrible loss by Tennessee. Auburn lost again. They lost to Mississippi State. Who in the world had Auburn in their top 5? They look like an atrocious team. Georgia Tech lost to Duke. By the way, Herbstreit said Georgia Tech was going to make the Final Four. Are you kidding me? He said they were going to win the ACC. I told you that triple option is overrated. They lost last week to Notre Dame. Now they lose to Duke. Terrible job by Georgia Tech. I'll tell you, some teams to keep an eye on. Memphis is doing a nice job. Northwestern's doing a nice job. And Michigan, after the opening loss to Utah, which looks like a really good loss now, Michigan's starting to put some things together. You know Harbaugh can coach. He's going to have Michigan playing really physical. They blew out BYU 31-0, so keep an eye on Michigan. That was your college football over the weekend. Was not a great week in college football. Some of the bigger games turned into absolute blowouts. The TCU-Texas Tech game was a lot of fun, though. Real quickly on the baseball, American League, Toronto, Kansas City, and Texas leading their divisions. Toronto and Kansas City fighting for best record. Yankees in solid shape for that wild card. The battle is really for that last wild card spot in the American League. Houston a half a game over the Angels, game and a half over Minnesota last week of the season. Better get it going now, these teams. This is your last chance. Last week to go. As far as the National League, Mets, Cardinals, and Dodgers, your division leaders. Mets and Dodgers fighting for the better record. I mean, the Dodgers and Mets are going to play in the first round. Whoever has home field could decide it. The Mets have jumped the Dodgers. Mets play really well at Citi Field. Very interesting there. Whoever gets home field. Right now the Mets have it. The Dodgers have let that home field slip away. Pittsburgh and the Cubs will be the wild card. And Washington, Papelbon and Harper fighting in the dugout. It's just been an awful year for Washington. Now they got the players going at it in the dugout. Harper's had a tremendous year, but Washington has not. Very, very disappointing year for Washington. So this is the last week of the baseball season. Teams better do it now. You're running out of time. A lot of interesting races here, especially for home field. Mets, Dodgers for home field. Toronto, KC for home field. You know, you got that last wild card spot. A lot of things still going on here in baseball. So keep an eye on that. All right, without further ado, I'm going to get right to my NFL picks for Week 4. I had a fabulous week in the NFL last week. I told you to bet Denver big. I did. I bet them twice. I went 11-5 at one game tonight. Tremendous, tremendous week for me in the NFL. Without further ado, let's get to our picks for Week 4 in the NFL, where they play for pay. And let's get to it right now. The Thursday night game is a very strange game. The Baltimore Ravens at 0-3 are -2.5 in Pittsburgh, and the Steelers are 2-1. And of course, why is Baltimore favored on the road in Pittsburgh with an 0-3 record? No Ben Roethlisberger, Mike Vick quarterbacking Pittsburgh. This is a strange game. What you need to know about this rivalry is this, though. It's always close. I don't care who's quarterbacking, who's playing. For the last 10 years, these teams have been playing knock them out, drag them out, close defensive football. I think it'll be no exception here. I think even with Mike Vick, I think this will be a very close game that could go either way. I think the Steelers are going to lean heavy on the run game. The Steelers have good running backs. They have a good offense. Mike Vick just avoid the turnovers. Steelers defense has been playing better. Ravens so spotty. You don't know what you're getting from the Ravens. They got no Suggs. They're just a completely different team this year. No one to stretch the field. To me, this is a tight game. To me, this is like, a 21-20 game. I'm going to take a shot here and take Pittsburgh plus 2.5. I think it's 2.5, 3 points right now. The line may change. Pittsburgh being at home, I think Mike Vick will lean on that running game. I think this is defensive, just smack you in the mouth type of game. The games are always close between these two teams, and I just don't trust the Ravens at 0-3 on the road giving up points, even though Roethlisberger is not playing. I think it's a close game, 21-20 I'm going to take Pittsburgh plus 2.5 on Thursday night in a very intriguing game. Let's go to Wembley Stadium in London. And by the way, I've said it a million times, I don't know what the NFL's fascination is with putting all these games in London. I just don't get it. Let's get a team situated in LA first. Let's situate where the Rams are going to be and the Chargers and the Raiders before we start talking about London. Why is the NFL fascinated with putting a team in London? They play all these games in London. This is like the English Premier League in soccer being obsessed with putting a team in like LA to play in their Premier League. I mean, it's our game, the NFL. Why are we obsessed with having a team in London? And listen, the London fans come out. They're great. I mean, the Wembley Stadium is awesome. This is not about that. I just don't understand why the NFL is obsessed with this. I mean, to me, it would actually make more sense if they had a team in Mexico rather than London as far as the travel. But anyway, let's go to London with the Miami Dolphins and the New York Jets right now are pick'em. This spread has moved from 1 point to 1 point to now it's pick'em. I mean, to me, I don't like what I see at all from Miami. Miami has now lost to Jacksonville and then just got bombed by Buffalo in back-to-back weeks. Now, I know the Jets didn't play all that well yesterday. Now, I think the Jets will have a better running game going into next week. We'll keep an eye on some of those injuries for the Jets. Revis, Decker, hopefully they'll play. When I look at both teams right now, I think the Jets are a little better right now. The Dolphins have showed me nothing. They got bombed by Buffalo at home yesterday. They lost to Jacksonville. They barely beat Washington on a punt return. And before Deshaun Jackson was hurt in that game, Washington was winning that game. So I don't like what I see at all from Washington. Now, I know Fitzpatrick didn't play well for the Jets. The Jets have a couple injuries to keep your eye on. But I think the Jets will play better next week than they did yesterday. And I just don't trust the Dolphins right now. I just don't. I'm going to reluctantly take the Jets. This is a game I would probably stay away from if you're going to bet this week. I mean, this game could go either way. I will take the Jets. It's a pick'em game right now, so I will take the Jets pick'em at Wembley Stadium. That's pick number 2. Pick number 3, let's go to Indianapolis, where the Indianapolis Colts are -9 against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Listen, Indianapolis has a lot of problems, but Jacksonville has more. Jacksonville just got obliterated. I mean, obliterated by New England. The Colts, although they weren't impressive, they did get the road win. And I just trust luck at home. I cannot see the Colts losing to Jacksonville at home. And so I give Jacksonville very little chance to win this game. So I'm not going to take them here with the points because I don't think they can win. So I'm going to take the Colts. The spread is a little high at 9. Believe me, it's a little high. I don't love the spread. But I don't like the Jaguars at all. I said the same thing last week when they were 13.5-point underdogs. I think the Colts are going to win this game. I don't think the Jacksonville Jaguars can win this game. I don't like taking teams that have no shot of winning. I'm going to take the Colts. I don't like the way they're playing, but they are home. They are playing Jacksonville. You figured they would be able to handle this type of team. I'll take the Colts -9 against the Jaguars. That's pick number 3. Pick number 4. Let's go to Atlanta, where the Atlanta Falcons are -6 against the Houston Texans. Atlanta's, of course, undefeated. We'll see about Foster for Houston if he gets on the field this week. Listen, Atlanta has a lot of firepower, especially in their building, and Houston has no firepower. And I love Houston's defense. You can't put that much pressure on your defense. Atlanta will find ways to score against anyone, including Houston. And Houston just has not shown me that they can put up any amount of points to stay in these games. Atlanta has way too much firepower for a Houston team right now. I mean, Houston's still spotty at quarterback. I mean, don't know about Foster. You just don't know what you're getting offensively from Houston. Only put up 19 points yesterday against Tampa Bay. You know Atlanta can score. I mean, just see them yesterday in the second half with that offensive line and Jones and Ryan. They can score. Atlanta, too much firepower for Houston. I like Atlanta -6 against Houston in Atlanta. Pick number 5, let's go down to Tampa Bay, where the Carolina Panthers are -3 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Listen, Carolina's 3-0. And listen, I don't love Carolina, but they do have a good defense. And to me, that should be enough to beat a bad Tampa Bay team. I don't think Tampa Bay is all that good this year. I don't. I think they're going to struggle. I think Winston is going to struggle. I really do. Yes, they had the nice win against New Orleans, but New Orleans is awful. I think Winston will struggle this year. I think Tampa Bay will struggle. Carolina has shown they can play good defense. Newton will make some plays. The spread's only 3. I have an undefeated team here. I like Carolina -3 against Tampa Bay. I just can't trust Tampa Bay to win this game. Carolina, I know what I'm going to get from them. Good defense. Newton should make some plays. That should be enough. That's pick number 5. Pick number 6. Let's go up to Buffalo, where the Buffalo Bills are -6 against the New York Giants. Buffalo really showed me a lot yesterday. They stomped all over Miami. Giants finally got a much-needed win against Washington, although they tried to blow that game as well. Now, I've said it all along. I don't love the Giant defense, so I think Buffalo's going to be able to put some points up. This spread's a little high for me, but I'm going to take Buffalo anyway. They're home. They showed me a lot last week. Even the game they lost to New England, they came back at the end. Buffalo should be fired up to play the Giants in this game. And I just don't trust the Giant defense. I mean, the Giant defense, I just don't trust them. I really don't. I think Buffalo will get after Eli Manning. I think Buffalo will do some nice things here at home. Spread's a little high. I don't love this game. If you ask me who's going to win, though, I got to say Buffalo. I think Buffalo wins by 7 points. I like Buffalo here by 7 over the New York Giants up in Buffalo in a very, very intriguing game. Pick number 7. Another intriguing game. The Philadelphia Eagles are -3 at the Washington Redskins. Eagles finally get a win yesterday. It's a very strange game. How is this game going to be played? Is this going to be a loosey-goosey game where the Eagles are slinging it all over the field? Or is this going to be a smash-in-the-mouth game, which the Redskins want, where they want to pound you with that running game, where they want to play defense, ball control? I mean, I still don't trust Washington. I still don't. And I don't love Philadelphia all that much either, but they did get a nice win yesterday. I think they can handle this Washington team. I really do. Cousins is still prone to making turnovers. The Giants carved up Washington last week. The Washington defense played well the first 2 weeks. They did not play well last week at all. The Giants did whatever they wanted on offense. Washington couldn't get the Giants off the field. That's what scares me here. Are they going to be able to get the Eagles off the field? I don't know. I'll take the Eagles here reluctantly. This is another tough game. There's a bunch of tough games this week. I'll take the Eagles here. Maybe they win by 4 points. I think it's a close game, maybe like a 27-23 game, but I'm going to take the Eagles here. I just don't trust Washington. I just don't trust Cousins. I didn't like the way they played defense against the Giants. Giants did whatever they wanted on offense in that game, so I'll take the Eagles there, -3. That's pick number 7. Pick number 8. Let's go to the jungle in Cincinnati, where the Cincinnati Bengals are -3 against the Kansas City Chiefs. Very nice game here. Of course, we're waiting on what the Chiefs do tonight. I always pick the Bengals at home. The Bengals the last few years have played very, very well in the jungle. Bengals off to a nice start. You want to take the Bengals early in the year, especially at home. They get off to these nice hot starts. Tough week for Kansas City. You're at Lambeau Field tonight. Then a short week, you got to go back on the road into the jungle where it's hard to win. That's asking a lot of the Chiefs. I'm going to take Cincinnati here, -3 over the Chiefs in the jungle. That's pick number 8. Pick number 9. Let's go out to San Diego. Oh boy, where the San Diego Chargers are -7 against the Cleveland Browns. Now listen, I don't like the way the Chargers have played at all the last 2 weeks, but I certainly am not taking Cleveland on the road. Can't do it. Just can't do it. I just have to take the Chargers here. The Browns, they just looked lost yesterday. Lost to the Raiders. I cannot trust Cleveland on the road. Can't do it. Not with their poor quarterback play. Cannot do it. As shaky as the Chargers are, you figure in their building, coming off 2 road losses. They're going to come home and they're just going to beat up Cleveland. You got to figure they are. You got to figure Phillip Rivers has a big day on Sunday. So I like San Diego at home, -7 against Cleveland. That's pick number 9. Pick number 10, let's go to the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field, where the Green Bay Packers are -9.5 against the San Francisco 49ers. Packers, of course, play tonight. Packers have had a lot of home games the first few weeks. What in the world have you seen from the San Francisco 49ers the last 2 weeks that makes you think they're going to hang with one of the best teams in football? San Francisco got torched by Pittsburgh. And then they got torched yesterday by Arizona. What makes you think that's not going to happen again next week? And why is the spread only 9.5 right now? After the way the Niners have played the last 2 weeks, and Green Bay can score on anyone. Green Bay's going to score early and often against the Niners. Green Bay wins this game in a rout. I like Green Bay -9.5 against the Niners. Don't know why that spread's only 9.5. Should be double digits. Let's go out to Denver, where the Denver Broncos and Peyton Manning are 3-0 again, and they are -4.5 against the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota had the bad loss in week 1 to the Niners. They came home and looked pretty good the last 2 weeks. Denver, of course, they find new and interesting ways to win each and every week. Like I said, they have the good cornerbacks, they have the good pass rush, they have the good receivers. Manning can still get some things done. I expect the running game to pick up. I don't think Minnesota can beat Denver in their own building. With a young quarterback, Bridgewater, going against, that, pass rush at Denver and that secondary at Denver, I think Bridgewater will have a couple turnovers. Manning will get some things done at home against that Minnesota defense. Spread's only 4.5. I think Denver will handle Minnesota at home. I'm not going to go against Denver much at home this year because they just always put up big records at home. I'm going to take Denver -4.5 against Minnesota. That's pick number 11. Pick number 12. Let's go out to the desert in Arizona, where the Arizona Cardinals are -6 against the St. Louis Rams. Listen, I've been on Arizona for 3 weeks. Why am I going to get off them now? They've been playing really tremendous football the first 3 weeks. Look really good. Look like a playoff team for sure. Look like they can challenge Seattle for the division. I'm not going to get off them now. And what has St. Louis shown me in the last 2 weeks? They've shown me absolutely nothing. They put up 10 points and 6 points. That's 16 points in 2 weeks. That's not going to get it done on the road in Arizona. This is real danger time for the Rams. I think they're going to lose this game. I think they're going to go 1-3. Danger time for Jeff Fisher and the Rams. I think Arizona continues to do it. They're rolling right now. They're confident. I like Arizona to take care of business at home. Arizona -6 in the desert against St. Louis. Pick number 13, let's go to the Superdome in New Orleans, where the New Orleans Saints are -5.5 against the Dallas Cowboys. Now, when I saw this spread, I said, why? Now, I know Romo and Bryant are out. I know that. And Breeze, who knows if he plays. Why are the Saints at 0-3, 5.5 over anyone? And I don't care who's out for Dallas. I don't care. On general principle, I'm taking Dallas here. I'll take Dallas with the backup quarterback against the Saints, even if Breeze plays. The Saints have showed me nothing the first 3 weeks. Yeah, they battled a little bit yesterday, but they still lost to Carolina. Saints have shown me nothing. And the Saints, this home field advantage that they used to have is gone. They don't play well in the Superdome. As a matter of fact, there'll be a ton of Cowboy fans down there. 5.5 points? You got to be kidding me. I think Dallas is going to win this game outright. I'll take Dallas plus 5.5 in New Orleans. Why in the world are the Saints 5.5 over anybody? I don't understand that spread. Dallas wins outright. That's pick number 13. Pick number 14. Let's go up to the Madhouse in Seattle, where the Seattle Seahawks are -9.5 against the Detroit Lions. Again, I looked at this spread and I said, why is it 9.5? I know Seattle's offense is not clicking on all cylinders. Have you seen Detroit the first 3 weeks? Come on. They're not the same team they were last year. They're not going to go into Seattle and win. Matter of fact, Al Michaels was looking at Detroit's schedule last week, and he goes, well, they're going to be 0-4 after next week. He's absolutely right. They're going to be 0-4. Seattle's going to win this game. Look for the Legion of Boom to lay the boom on Detroit. Seattle's going to start playing very well, here on out with Chancellor back. Seattle's going to get that offense rolling. They're going to get Graham more involved. Detroit is going to have a lost year this year. Not taking Detroit up in Seattle. This spread should be double digits as well. I'll take Seattle at home -9.5 against Detroit. Picking a lot of favorites this week. That's how I see it going. And the final pick number 15. Remember, we start the buys this week. Tennessee and New England are off. The final pick, here's a strange game. Pick number 15, the Oakland Raiders. Yes, the Oakland Raiders are -2.5 at Chicago. Are you kidding me? How far have the Bears fallen where they are underdog at home to the Raiders? Oh my goodness. I mean, Cutler and Jeffrey probably won't play. Clausen looked awful for the Bears, and you know what? I'm taking the Raiders here. The Raiders have won 2 in a row. They've shown me something on offense. I like the way Carr's been playing. I don't like anything that I see from the Bears. I don't like the way Clausen's playing. I think the crowd's going to start turning on the Bears. They're going to start booing them. Now listen, if you're betting this week, I'd stay away from this game. The Raiders minus 2.5 in Chicago. Did you ever think you were going to see that the last few years? Are you kidding me? Especially after week 1 and the way the Raiders played. Unbelievable how far the Bears have fallen. And you know what? I'm taking the Raiders here. I'm taking the Raiders minus 2.5 in Chicago. I don't like what I see at all from the Bears. Never thought I'd do it. Raiders minus 2.5 in Chicago. That's hard to believe. So in review, and I picked a lot of favorites this week. That's how I see it going. Here's my review for the week. I like on the Thursday night game, Pittsburgh plus 2.5 against Baltimore. I think that's a 1-point game either way. I like the Jets pick'em in London. I think that is another white knuckler type of game. I just don't trust Miami right now. I like Indianapolis at home minus 9 against Jacksonville. Jacksonville just looked awful yesterday. I like Atlanta at home minus 6 against Houston. Houston doesn't have the firepower to go with Atlanta. I like Carolina minus 3 at Tampa, down in Tampa. I just don't trust a rookie quarterback against that good Carolina D. I like Buffalo at home, minus 6 against the Giants. Reluctantly, I could see it going the other way on this game. I do think Buffalo will win. It could be close, though. I will take Buffalo to win by 7. Intriguing game there. I like Philadelphia minus 3 at Washington. Another intriguing game. How's this game going to be played? Is Washington going to smack Philadelphia in the face with that running game? Or the Eagles going to be able to do something against that Washington defense that didn't play all that well against the Giants? I'll take the Eagles. Very tough game there. I like Cincinnati at home in the jungle, minus 3 against the Chiefs. Very tough back-to-back for the Chiefs. At Lambeau tonight against the Packers. Short week, go to Cincinnati. That's asking a lot. I like San Diego at home, minus 7 against Cleveland. Cleveland just looked so awful yesterday. I can't trust them. They lost to the Raiders in their own building. I'll take the Chargers. I like Green Bay at home, minus 9.5 against the Niners. Have we watched the Niners the last couple of weeks? Enough said. I like Denver at home, minus 4.5 against Minnesota. Minnesota not ready to win a game like this. I like Arizona at home, minus 6 against St. Louis. Arizona's on a roll. St. Louis is going in the wrong direction. I like Dallas plus 5.5 at New Orleans. I don't know why New Orleans is 5.5 over anyone. I know Romo and Bryant are out. I think Dallas wins this game outright. I like Seattle at home, minus 9.5 against Detroit. Detroit looks like they're going to have a lost season. Look for Seattle to play a lot better here on out. And the last pick, I like the Raiders, minus 2.5 at Chicago. Just an anti-Chicago pick there. But if you're betting the games this week, I might want to stay away from that. Now we're betting the Raiders, giving points on the road. That's tough to believe the Raiders are favored on the road. So that's my picks for this week 4 in the NFL. Like I said, Tennessee and New England have a bye week. All right, let's get to our college picks for week number 5. Believe it or not, it is week 5 of the college football season. Are you kidding me? I mean, we're basically 1/3 of the way through the college football season already. It's just unbelievable how fast it goes. How fast did September go? September's already gone. We got a couple of big games this week. I'll save the big games for last. We got 2 monster games this week. You got a couple of other things. I got some picks for you, but we do have 2 monster games. I'll get to them in a second. Pick number 1. Let's go down to Knoxville, Tennessee, with the Tennessee Volunteers on minus 7 against the Arkansas Razorbacks. I just got done bashing the Tennessee coach for the way he handled the end of the Florida game, not going for 2, and then this bad clock management. Arkansas had another heartbreaking loss. Arkansas has now lost 3 games in a row. It looks like it could be a long year for Arkansas. I'm going to take Tennessee here, despite the coach's follies last week. Tennessee's close. Could have beaten Oklahoma. Should have beaten Florida. They're close. They're home now, and Arkansas just looks like they're going to have a bad year this year. Things are going in the wrong direction for Arkansas. I like Tennessee at home in front of the Orange Nation. An impossible place to play. 100,000 people, decked in orange, singing Rocky Top. I like Tennessee to roll here, coming off the bad loss to Florida. Tennessee beats a struggling Arkansas team. I like Tennessee minus 7 against Arkansas. That's pick number 1. Pick number 2, Let's go down to Aggie Land in College Station, where the Texas A&M Aggies are -7 against the Mississippi State Bulldogs. Texas A&M undefeated, beat Arkansas in overtime last week. Mississippi State had the nice win at Auburn. They have one loss on the year. That was to LSU. I don't think Mississippi State has the firepower to stay in this game. Texas A&M's defense is much better this year. Mississippi State's offense just does not score enough points to win this type of game on the road. I just don't think they have enough firepower to go into Aggie Land with those crazy fans and beat a very good A&M team with improved defense. I like the Mississippi State quarterback. They just don't have a lot of weapons. They'll play hard, they'll play tough, but they're just going to run out of gas here. Texas A&M pulls away late. I like Texas A&M -7 against Mississippi State in Aggie Land. That's pick number 2. Pick number 3. Let's go to the Rose Bowl in LA, where the UCLA Bruins are -13.5 against the Arizona State Sun Devils. UCLA showing me a lot. Just smacked around Arizona last week in Arizona. Arizona State showed me nothing last week when they got obliterated at home by USC. They also lost to Texas A&M early in the year. Arizona State is soft, and they're even softer on the road. UCLA should manhandle Arizona State at home, just like they manhandled Arizona. I like UCLA at home in the Rose Bowl, -13.5 against Arizona State. All right, pick number 4. Let's go to the Swamp in Florida, where the Ole Miss Rebels are -7 against the Florida Gators. Florida had the improbable win against Tennessee. They're down 13 points in the fourth quarter, rallied to win. Mississippi kind of stumbled and bumbled against Vanderbilt, kind of sleepwalking after they had just beaten Alabama the week before. I think Mississippi's just better here on all sides. Florida is not ready yet. Mississippi looks like an upper echelon team. Florida looks like they just want to go to a bowl. I know the game's in the Swamp, but Tennessee had Florida beaten. Tennessee had Florida down 13 points in this game. I think Mississippi is better than Tennessee. I don't think Florida, is going to have this magic 2 weeks in a row. I like Mississippi -7 in the Swamp in Gainesville. Mississippi is a very good team. I expect them to play a lot better this week than they played against Vanderbilt. They were sleepwalking in that game after the big win against Alabama. That's pick number 4. Pick number 5, let's go down to Durham, where the Duke Blue Devils are -6.5 against the Boston College Eagles. Duke had a very nice home win against Georgia Tech. Nice win by Duke. Boston College, I do not like their offense at all. They got shut out by Florida State. Then they only put up 17 points against Northern Illinois. I don't like teams that can't score, especially when they go on the road. I've been very high on this Duke program the last few years, so I'm going to take them again here. Every time I take Duke, they usually cover for me. Don't love the BC offense, especially on the road, so I'm going to take the Duke Blue Devils -6.5 against BC down in Durham. I have to see if my friend Paul is going to this game, being he lives in Durham. That's pick number 5. Pick number 6. Let's go out to the farm in Stanford with Stanford Cardinal on -17.5 against the Arizona Wildcats. Stanford, after the opening night loss to Northwestern, has played really well. They stomped all over USC. Then they beat Oregon State on the road. Stanford quarterback looks really good. Arizona looked as soft could be last week, where UCLA just pushed them around in Tucson, just manhandled them. If you know anything about Stanford, when they play at the farm, they get very physical and they can push you around. They'll push Arizona around this game. We don't know about the Arizona quarterback. He may not even play. Stanford will run all over this soft Swiss cheese defense of Arizona. Stanford rolls on the farm against Arizona. That's pick number 6. Pick number 7. Let's go to East Lansing, Michigan, where Michigan State is home, -23.5 against Purdue. I'm looking for a week where Michigan State just lays it on somebody. I mean, they've been winning pretty big, but they haven't really plastered anyone yet. I'm looking for them to plaster somebody. Maybe a Big Ten game here. Maybe they're looking to plaster this, bad Purdue team. Michigan State won 30-10 last week. They won comfortably the week before. But I'm looking for them to really, lay it on some team, 49-10 or something like that. I think Purdue is made to order here. I think Michigan State rolls in this game. I like Michigan State to run it up against Purdue in the Big Ten game. Michigan State -23.5 against an awful Purdue team. That's pick number 7. And then the 2 big games here. We got 2 monster games. Let's go to the first one in Athens, Georgia. The Georgia Bulldogs are -2 against the Alabama Crimson Tide in an absolutely monster game. Georgia undefeated. Alabama, remember, has 1 loss already. Lost at home to Ole Miss where they had 5 turnovers. Can't afford another loss. This is a very interesting game. Georgia's looked good so far, but against lesser competition. You know, Georgia every year has one hiccup where they have one really bad performance. They never can go like 12-0. They always have one game that really kills them every year. Very interesting that Alabama's underdog. They're never underdog. Can't remember the last time they were underdog. And they already have a loss here. I think Alabama is going to be very motivated in this game. They know they cannot afford another loss, and they win this game. They're back in national title contention. Georgia's still undefeated. You know, they haven't gotten to that point yet where they're desperate, where they've already lost the game, where they can't afford any more losses. And Alabama, make no mistake about it, they gave that game away to Ole Miss. Now, Ole Miss played well, but Alabama had 5 turnovers in that game and still almost rallied to win. I think being them getting 2, being Alabama's got a loss, they're going to be the more desperate team. Georgia always lays a bad performance on you every year, especially at home. They always seem to lose a game like this. I think it's a very close game, like 27-26, somebody. Very close, razor thin, could go either way. I'm going to take Alabama here +2. I like that I'm getting points. I like that they have the loss, that they're going to be more motivated. They know they cannot afford another loss, and Saban's great at that motivation. And Georgia, they always come up small in these spots. Now, they've looked really good, but haven't played anyone the caliber Alabama. I'm going to take a shot here. This game could go either way. This is a very tough game. This is a game you might want to just watch it, not bet. I'll take Alabama +2 between the hedges in Georgia in a must-watch game. And the other big game of the weekend, this is where College game day will be. The Clemson Tigers at home on -2 against the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. This is a very intriguing game. Clemson, Death Valley, all decked out in orange. Those just crazy fans, some of the best fans in all of college football. They got Watson, that dynamic quarterback. Notre Dame, they've done such a great job this year. They've had a bunch of injuries, but all their backups have played well, including the quarterback. They had a nice game against Georgia Tech. They blew out Texas. Notre Dame looks like a solid team. This is a very intriguing matchup. I mean, I was debating this game back and forth. Who do I take in this game? Very, very, very tough game. I am going to take Clemson here at home, -2 against Notre Dame. I think at Death Valley, Clemson plays a lot better than they do, on the road. And I think Watson at home will be dynamic. Asking a lot for Notre Dame now to go into this environment and win. Remember when Notre Dame played in Virginia, they barely got out of that game alive. Remember, Notre Dame beat Texas at home, beat Georgia Tech at home, beat UMass at home. The one road game they had, they struggled and had to pull the game out from under, had to pull the game out. I mean, they pulled the game out against Virginia through that deep pass deep in the game to win that game. Virginia almost beat Notre Dame in Virginia. Being this is only Notre Dame's second road game, this is one of the toughest places in all of college football to play. Clemson Death Valley at night. This place is going to be electric. This is a must-watch game. If you can get down to this game, I know tickets are expensive. I know it's last minute. Get down there and get into Death Valley. If you can't make it to Death Valley for this game, go to another Clemson game. The crowd is amazing. It's electric at night. It's even better. Should be a fabulous atmosphere down there in Clemson. I think Clemson wins by 3 points. I think it's a field goal game either way. Being Clemson's at home, they play better at home. That crowd at night, Watson, is dynamic, especially at home. Notre Dame on the road, maybe a little shaky. They barely beat Virginia. Had to pull that game out from the fire. They almost lost to Virginia on the road. That's been their only road game. Now you expect them to go into Clemson and win at Clemson at night. That's asking a lot, especially with their backups. The backup playing at quarterback, and he's played well, but this is asking Notre Dame. This is asking a lot from Notre Dame here. I think Clemson wins. They win by a field goal in a must-watch game. Georgia, Alabama, and Clemson, Notre Dame are two fabulous games. Watch them, DVR them. You have to see both of these games. The environments, the fans, the setting, the teams doesn't get any better than Between the Hedges in Athens for Georgia, Alabama, or Death Valley, Clemson for Clemson, Notre Dame. Make sure you watch both games or DVR them. So I am going to take Clemson at home. Tough game. Clemson -2 against Notre Dame. That is pick number 9. So in review, here are my picks for college football week 5. I like Tennessee at home -7 against Arkansas. I think Arkansas is just going in the wrong direction. Tennessee's close. I like Texas A&M at home, -7 against Mississippi State. Mississippi State doesn't have the firepower to win a game like this on the road. I like UCLA at home, -13.5 against a soft, marshmallow Arizona State team. I like Mississippi, -7 against Florida in the swamp. I don't think Florida pulls out 2 miracles in a row. I think Mississippi will play better this week. Pick number 5, I like Duke at home, -6.5 against BC. I don't like BC's offense, especially on the road. Pick number 6, I like Stanford on the farm to manhandle Arizona. Arizona's defense is soft, like Arizona State and like Oregon. Stanford, -17.5 against Arizona on the farm. That's pick number 6. Pick number 7, I like Michigan State at home, -23.5 against Purdue. This may be finally the week when Michigan State lays it on someone. Pick number 8, I like Alabama +2 at Georgia between the hedges in a very tough game. I think this is like a 1-point game either way. Could go either way. If you like Georgia, I couldn't argue with you. I mean, being Alabama lost the game, they're going to be more motivated. They know they cannot lose another game. Georgia can get spotty in these situations. They have in the past, so I'm going to take Alabama here. Very good game. Could go either way. That's pick number 8. And pick number 9, I'm going to take Clemson at home, -2 against Notre Dame in another fabulous game. I think Clemson wins by a field goal. If you like Notre Dame, I couldn't argue with you. Asking a lot, though, for Notre Dame to win at Clemson. Death Valley at night. Watson, dynamic quarterback for Clemson. Notre Dame was shaky in their only road game at Virginia. Very lucky to win that game. Backups have played well, but how are they going to play well now on the road in Death Valley? They've been playing well at home. Death Valley, a whole nother situation. So I like Clemson by a field goal. If you like Notre Dame, I could not argue with you. Georgia, Alabama, Clemson, Notre Dame, must watches, DVR, or go to the games, please. You know I wouldn't steer you wrong. Watch both of those games, and you can watch both of them. One's at 3:30, one's at 8. You can watch them back-to-back. What a fabulous night of college football. Couple other games you might want to keep an eye on in college football that I didn't pick. Oklahoma at home against West Virginia. Very interesting game there. Oklahoma State at home against K-State. Another fascinating game. TCU at home against Texas. I mean, we'll see if Texas can make a game of that. Baylor at home against Texas Tech. What's the score of that game going to be? 87-80. And Cal at home against Washington State. Cal is doing some really nice things on offense. Cal is starting to put together some good things, so we'll keep an eye on that game as well. So that is your picks for college football week 5. So there you go. You have your picks for the NFL. You have your picks for college football. By the way, one thing on golf before I go. Spieth wins the golf yesterday. How good is Spieth? By the way, how many good young players are there in golf? I mean, so many good young players. Spieth, I mean, just a tremendous player. He wins yesterday, so I hope you caught that. But anyway, you guys have your picks for college football. You have your picks for the NFL. I hope you guys pick a lot of winners. I hope you make a lot of money. I did really well this past week in the NFL. Did really well. I told you to bet Denver heavy, bet them twice. I told you to pick Seattle. I thought those were my 2 best bets of the weekend. So I did really well in the NFL, so I hope I do just as good this weekend. You guys are all caught up. You guys are all set. Enjoy the games, especially the Monday night game tonight. Kansas City at Green Bay should be a good game. Lambeau Field, always fun. Always a great setting for football. Pick a lot of winners this week. Make a lot of money. Stay happy, healthy, and safe. I will be back with you guys very soon. Thanks for the support as always. Take care.